What if you weren't able to feel emotions like everyone else? What if you weren't able to feel fear, feel anger, feel happiness even? And what if someone told you we're already there, that we already live in a world where people don't feel a single thing in their daily lives? Not only that, we live in a world where people refuse to feel a single thing. That is the world that Almond by Sohn Won-pyung paints a picture of, shown through a boy with a real condition that hampers his ability to feel emotions, a world plagued by apathy. But don't worry, Sohn Won-pyung doesn't just leave us with a problem to solve. She does give hints if you're willing to listen, or in this case, read. This is the Korean Literature Book Club with support from the Literature Translation Institute of Korea. I am Jinu Park, writer and translator. Today, I'd like to dive into this book with my guest, Sam at Sam Falling Books, book reviewer and influencer.
Hi, I'm Sam, and you can find me on TikTok, Instagram, or YouTube, but mainly on TikTok. I love to read a variety of genres, from lit fic to romance to fantasy, and one of the genres I've been trying to get more into is translated fiction. I've had Almond on my TBR for the longest time, and reading it to discuss with Jinwoo for the Korean Literature Book Club just seemed like the perfect time to get into it.
As always, there will be spoilers, so do read the book first if you'd like to fully enjoy this video. So let's talk about Almond. This book is about Yoonjae, a teenager with a condition of having an abnormally small amygdala, which makes him unable to feel emotions like fear or anger, a condition otherwise known as alexithymia. The amygdala is almond-shaped. It's also Latin for almond, as many medical terms are Latin-based, hence the title Almond. Almond introduces us to Yoonjae's family, his mother and grandmother, who try their best to help his condition. They come up with all these ways to practice emotions with him. But then tragedy strikes. His mother and grandmother become victims of a 묻지마 violence. 묻지마 literally translates to don't ask, which roughly can mean random acts of violence. His grandmother succumbs to her wounds and his mother falls into a coma. Yoonjae at 15 is left to fend for his own. But Yoonjae's life gets turned even more upside down when he meets Gon, a troubled youngster whose life gets messily entangled with Yoonjae.
After this big event in Yoonjae's life, he's taken under the wing of Dr. Shim, who lives on the floor above and owns a bakery. Dr. Shim also offers to be his guardian and becomes a new constant in Yoonjae's life. Later we're introduced to Gon, who's a troublesome kid from school, and Yoonjae's exact opposite. You could say that while Yoonjae doesn't feel enough, Gon almost feels too much. Gon almost sees it as a challenge to try and prompt Yoonjae to feel as if it's something that can be evoked in the right situation. Their budding friendship is a large part of the story, but also another character that is introduced later on is Dora, who also has a massive impact in Yoonjae's life.
But you know, while Yoonjae is presented as this abnormal kid, you get the sense in the book that, in fact, he's quite normal and the true monsters are everyone around him. The premise of the novel may let you think that Yoonjae is a special person. After all, alexithymia occurs in about 10% of the general population, which makes it uncommon. However, I can't shake off the fact that Yoonjae is not so different from the rest of us. I mean, take a look at this scene when his mother and grandmother are getting attacked. All I could do was watch the glass door turn redder and redder. No one stepped in during that whole time. I saw a couple of riot police all frozen. Everyone just stood there and watched as if the man and mom and granny were putting on a play. Everyone was the audience, including me. The thing is, Yoonjae does try to intervene. He pounds on the door to try to get to them, presumably to help them, but it's his grandmother who barricades herself so the attacker can't get to Yoonjae. So who really is the apathetic monster here? Is it Yoonjae or is it the crowd, including the riot police, who have the power to stop this, but simply continue to watch alongside the crowd.
Yoonjae's lack of emotion is not too far from who we are. We do things every single day, like walk past people who are suffering in the street. We watch horrific things happening on the TV every single day, yet we can turn around and pretend that it's not happening and continue on with our day, watching TV and scrolling on to the next entertainment channel. Even in the book, Dr. Shim, who we largely see as a good character, has a scene where he's watching a young boy crying on TV, where he's lost both legs and an ear due to a bombing. And yet when he turns around to look at Yoonjae, he's smiling. And Yoonjae thinks to himself, how could you smile with your back turned on somebody in such pain? And that is indeed something that we do every single day. We're now becoming numb to disasters and tragedies that we're seeing every day, and we wallow in apathy.
Now, you may ask yourself, how do we even allow ourselves to be this terribly apathetic? Well, this is where we have to talk about prejudice. I think it's natural that we all want to believe we care about people. I mean, how could apathy be our norm? How could turning a blind eye, or worse, watching and doing not a single thing, be the way we think and behave? We are empathetic creatures, are we not? The problem is this: we are so prone to prejudice that it almost prevents us from feeling things. Prejudice creates these excuses, like how if someone is lying on the street and they seem a bit disheveled, you think, oh, it's probably a homeless person. Yoonjae is also subjected to these prejudices because people think he's a freak. I heard murmurs here and there. That's him, that boy. Well, he looks normal. That's the boy who was at the murder scene, the boy who saw his family bleeding to death in front of him, but said he felt nothing without batting an eyelash. This earns him pity, but also a ton of ridicule. They ask him these ridiculous questions, thinking he won't feel a thing. Parents show concern because they think his condition will disrupt the class. But this prejudice is shown much more clearly in the case of Kwon, the rebellious troublemaker whose behavior convinces others, even his own father, that he doesn't deserve care and affection, that he doesn't deserve any attention at all.
The prejudice against Gon allows others to justify their own apathy for him. On a school trip where a large sum of money disappears, Gon is the one that is immediately blamed, despite him having a very reasonable alibi. Afterwards, he poses a question to Yoonjae, do you think it was me who stole the money? To which he replies that he's not surprised that everyone thinks it was him because he's given them plenty of reason to think so. Gon agrees with this and goes on to say that this is why he didn't even bother insisting that he was innocent. He resigns himself to the fact that he can't change this image that everyone already has of him. This in turn pushes him further into his path of self-destruction, saying that if I can't protect myself from being hurt, I'd rather hurt other people.
So how do we fight this apathy? What is the answer? I think Sohn Won-pyung gives two answers, actually. In the author's note, Sohn Won-pyung talks about how her experience of having a child gave rise to an important question. Would I be able to give this child unconditional love no matter what it looked like, even if the child grew to be someone completely different from my expectations? And the contemplation of these questions led to the creation of two characters, Yoonjae and Kwon. She wrote the book thinking about whether she would be able to love these two if they were her own children. She also adds that, I know this may be a cliched conclusion to draw, but I have come to think that love is what makes a person human, as well as what makes a monster. That's the story I wanted to tell. Well, I think it's not cliched at all. Just as how you don't fight fire with fire, you don't fight apathy with more apathy. That doesn't get anyone anywhere. And in the book, love is what essentially changes Kwon and Yoonjae.
The source of Yoonjae's growth as an individual comes from a variety of different characters in his life. We have Dr. Shim, who has no real connection to him, but only a vague relationship that's alluded to with Yoonjae's mother. Yet he takes up the challenge of becoming a young child's guardian and takes time to talk him through his emotions just like his mother and grandmother would do. He offers him advice and different ways at looking at situations, which Yoonjae was really missing from the absence of his mother and grandmother. Another character that is a source of Yoonjae's personal growth is Dora, who comes into his life and sets his heart racing. and you bet he cannot even fathom why. She doesn't treat him any differently to she would treat anyone else, and in turn he's able to be more himself than he's ever been able to do with someone his own age. Yoonjae's upbringing with his mother and grandmother also sets him up with the tools to be able to grow in their absence. They do small things to try and get him to get to grips with social norms and how to react in certain situations, even in conversations that he literally can't feel his way through. His mother puts coloured paper all around the walls of their house with different situations so he can constantly be learning. So for situations like when someone smiles, smile back. And perhaps the most important influence of all is Yoonjae's relationship with Gon. No matter how cruel Gon could be, Yoonjae always continued to be his friend. Yoonjae is the only one in Gon's life that doesn't push him away, because his father has pushed him away, he's lost his mother, teachers, friends, they all turn their back against him, but that one constant is Yoonjae. And for Yoonjae to take this role in someone's life definitely contributed to his growth. Not only that, but Yoonjae's camaraderie is what reveals Gon's true self as a decent person. In this chapter, he says, "We couldn't possibly resemble each other. I was too numb, and Gon didn't admit he was vulnerable. He just pretended to be strong. People said that there was no way to understand Gon. I didn't agree with them. It's just that nobody ever tried to see through him."
Love on its own may be a start, but it's not enough to wash away apathy, because what makes true difference is action, which is exactly what Yoonjae does. People shut their eyes to a distant tragedy, saying there's nothing they could do, yet they didn't stand up for one happening nearby either because they're too terrified. Most people could feel, but didn't act. They said they sympathized, but easily forgot. The way I see it, that was not real. I didn't want to live like that.
The climax of the story is at the very end, and Yoonjae does not sit idle through this. He goes out to save Gon despite the immense danger that his quest poses, and this is the answer that the author presents as an antidote to apathy. It's through Yoonjae's actions and the way he stands up for Gon in a way no one ever has that changes him. Yoonjae loves to read and loves to be surrounded by books in his mother's bookshop, and at one point in the book he references a quote by J.P. Nolan that says, "There is no such person who can't be saved. There are only people who give up on trying to save others." And Yoonjae embodies this quote entirely in the way that he sees and treats Gon. And through that they both save each other in a way and also become friends as well.
To love and to act for the people you love. We won't say it's easy. Mind you, Yoonjae nearly died. But that is what true empathy and overcoming apathy is, isn't it? To give up a bit of yourself for the sake of another instead of sitting down and doing nothing. Because as Yoonjae says, you don't want to live like that.
This book will stay with me for a very long. This book and this story and these characters will stay with me for a very long time. Since I finished this book, it often crosses my mind at least once a day, and it's changed the way that I see the world around me. It is such a special read, and I will be attempting to make everyone in my life read this book.
As usual, special thanks to the Literature Translation Institute of Korea for their support. Thanks also to Sam for her sharp commentary and insights on Almond.
Thank you, Jinwoo, for inviting me and letting me chat about Almond with you for the Korean Literature Book Club. I cannot wait to see the rest of the videos in the series.
And most of all, thank you for watching.